begin, ladies and gentlemen, by Pakistan's desire for regional peace and stability. Whether it be our Prime Minister or whether it be our Chief of the Army Staff, they have always reiterated the stance for regional peace and stability. And of course, Pakistan has a huge role to play as far as regional stability is concerned. The Chief of the Army Staff has said that peace and stability in South Asia are dependent on the resolution of the long-standing issues in the region. He also has emphasized Pakistan's resolve and determination to confront the global phenomenon of terrorism in order to adopt a national approach. And of course, this is in the context of the National Action Plan and South Asia stability that hinges on the resolution of long-standing issues. The long-standing issues that include that of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. That is going to be our leading segment of the day. Then, ladies and gentlemen, our second segment of the day concerns Pakistan's fight against terrorism. Also concerned with the National Action Plan, Pakistan has been fighting against terrorism in two major operations that the forces have conducted in the past, and also of late there have been incursions from the terrorists in various parts of Pakistan. Here we'll be talking about Balochistan, where 4 soldiers were martyred while 8 injured in terrorist attacks in Balochistan. In this second incident, the terrorists targeted a vehicle of the Frontier Constabulary with an improvised explosive device in Turbat, which left 2 Frontier Constabulary soldiers injured. And the ISPI in a statement has said that such cowardly acts by the inimical elements backed by the anti-state forces and the HIS cannot sabotage the hard-earned peace and prosperity in the province that is Balochistan. And then we'll be talking about, ladies and gentlemen, of Pakistan that has taken serious exception to an Israeli politician misusing our very own Shifa hospital that is located in Islamabad, as you can see in the image right in the parallel window, in a social media video. He was talking of Shifa, but the images and the video that was placed was of our hospital, that is the Shifa International Hospital in H8. Social media users were quick to point out that anomaly, and of course the Foreign Office spokesperson Zahid Hafiz Chaudhry has also said that Pakistan has taken serious exception to an Israeli far-right politician showing the image of a Pakistani hospital. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about the Global Day of Parents that is being observed today. We need to appreciate parents for all they are doing, all they have been doing since time immemorial for their children, whether they be daughters or their sons, and especially in this COVID-19 time where there's a lot of stress in the environment and the children that are at home and of course need more catering to, need more of the time of their parents. It is the role of the parents that makes or breaks a child. Therefore, today around the world, the Global Day of Parents is being observed today. Let's begin with our first segment, ladies and gentlemen, that concerns Pakistan's desire for regional peace and stability, whether it be peace in Afghanistan or whether it be efforts for peace in the region, especially with our not so friendly neighbor India. Pakistan has been trying since a lot of years to bring peace and stability in the region, because this is primordial for stability and for prosperity in the South Asian region. That has also been reiterated since a long time by our Prime Minister, by our Chief of the Army Staff, and of late our Chief of the Army Staff again said that peace and stability in South Asia are dependent on the resolution of long-standing issues in the region. To talk more about those long-standing issues in the region and Pakistan's role as far as peace and stability in the region are concerned, we've been joined by Dr. Manzoor Afridi. He's a foreign affairs expert. Dr. Saab, pleasure to have you in the studios.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Saab, there are 2 important issues when it comes to the region, that in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and that of the Afghan peace process. As far as this region, that is South Asian region, is concerned, of course, Pakistan's efforts have been primordial, have been instrumental, although as far as India is concerned, we haven't really seen some kind of a positive response in the last few years. Let's come to Afghanistan, because that is your speciality first for Dr. Afridi. Afghan peace process, Pakistan's efforts. You remember well in the beginning how Pakistan had been sidelined by the US, but then the US itself asked Pakistan to help it bring the 2 factions together, that is the Afghan Taliban and the Afghan government, and Pakistan's role in after that has been extremely important. How do you see the present, past and the future of the Afghan peace process?
That is a really interesting question, because when this war on terror started by the US and the NATO forces, so since the very first day Pakistan joined it as a frontline state. And of course, we have seen so many consequences and what Pakistan has lost in this war, and still we are bearing all those things. But that was in the name of peace, that we can bring peace, tranquility and stability in this region with the support of international community. So after that, when something was started about negotiating with the rebel groups, Afghan Taliban, so different countries, they had their stakes, and they started this process. So Pakistan shook hands with almost every country and every international player, whether that was the major or great power of the world or international organization, to have peace in this region. For example, Pakistan, it is one of the most important countries in the Istanbul peace process, which was initiated back in 2011 from Turkey, the Heart of Asia conferences. So everywhere, whether that was in Islamabad, the session was held, or in other countries' capital, Pakistan supported it, and Pakistan welcomed all those initiatives. After that, we have also the QCG, Coordination Group, among Pakistan, Afghanistan, United States, and China. No doubt that China is a regional player, and it has, it has big sticks in South Asia and Pakistan, and also in Afghanistan. So that's why any development which will take place in this region, China can't ignore. And no doubt that United States is a superpower, and that is the main stakeholder in Afghanistan. So to combine with Pakistan, yes, that was a golden opportunity, and this platform, it has gained, although a little bit, not too much, but that was the enthusiasm. What it shows that Pakistan was how much welcoming to the peace to this region, particularly to Afghanistan. After that, we have also come across through the Moscow conferences, the Russian initiatives, what was taken. Even the United States also participated as observer, and China, Central Asian states, some other states, they also participated. So Pakistan was there, that have we can negotiate this peace process and have stability, political security stability. We can bring to Afghanistan.
But when you talk of stability, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Saab, but when we come to peace and stability, we see that in the region, it's Pakistan who has been moving forward as far as the efforts, whether it be by our forces, whether it be by our government. Why aren't the other political forces in the region responding in kind, in your point of view? What's the reason behind that?
Well, there are three basic reasons or factors we can conclude. One, yes, Pakistan is, there is a country which can directly be affected, either positive or negative, any kind of development, whether that is in positive direction or in negative direction in Afghanistan. So Pakistan will bear all the consequences. So no doubt that Pakistan has to do a lot in this regard. What about the other political forces or countries? Why they are not taking such initiatives, or why they are not supportive in such manner that they can really strengthen the Pakistan's initiatives? One, that those countries, they have their own political gains, like India, like some other countries, right? And they don't want that Pakistan can be succeeded there. And in other sense, if we see, even it is in their own interest, if they understand in the long-term futuristic scenario, if we see, but they are looking just for the present situation, and they are just appeasing their own, voters or the domestic audience. The second thing, that such forces, such countries, they are associated for the one reason or the other with some major powers, like no doubt that United States is there, or Russia is there, or maybe the European Union as a whole, or part of European Union, maybe Germany or France. So they have strong deals with them, such like security deals, arms deals in case of India. So these are the reasons that they are not welcoming. If they see that, okay, this initiative has been taken by Pakistan or any other state, if it brings peace to Afghanistan, no doubt that it will also bring peace to Pakistan.
And that is what a lot of people do not want.
Asia. Yes. So such forces, they want to jeopardize this process, and they, I think, just can't see the benefit what Pakistan can achieve from this
You
process.
remember the National Action Plan, which was implemented in 2014, and it happened after this heinous incident on the Army Public School in Peshawar, in which scores of children were martyred in a very barbaric fashion, and that also happened from across the border. Now, when we talk of across the border, there is a direct implication of those terrorist elements that are in Afghanistan, and then there's the indirect element, that is India, that is persuading those elements that are in Afghanistan or elsewhere to come into Pakistan and wreak havoc one way or the other. How do you feel, despite Pakistan's 2 operations that it has had, Pakistan's forces that have successfully combated terrorism in 2 major operations, what more does, in your point of view, Pakistan need to do in order to completely eliminate the scourge of terrorism from the country?
Well, Pakistan has done a lot of efforts, and yes, we have also achieved achievements in this, because now we can see that we have achieved stability to major extent, because now if we count the suicide bomb blasting or what was happening before, now there is incredible reduction and decrease in those blasts. So, but of course, it's not the task of a month or a year. We have to plan our policies for years in future, and that is one of the important. That is the economic emancipation. We can bring it to, of course, to those areas of Pakistan who were neglected, or those who are remained backwards, like the areas of Balochistan or the tribal areas of Pakistan or some other areas. So, and in this one, of course, now we have got an opportunity in the shape of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And this CPEC, if we really, vitalize it, and yes, government of Pakistan is on the track to have benefit from the CPEC and all the 9 special economic zones. And a couple of days back, there was also inauguration of the Rashaka special economic zone in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. So this economic zone can link Pakistan's economy not only with Afghanistan but also to Central Asian states.
I understand that economy is very important in the special economic zones, whether it be Rashaka, Faisalabad and so many other places where the special economic zones are going to be put up and are being placed as we speak, and of course the interest of the international community in that. But if there are still those elements, Dr. Saab, that from across the border want to create havoc in the country and do not want stability in Pakistan, they will continue to destabilize Pakistan even despite the CPEC. What needs to be done? Don't you feel that the pressure should be put on international organizations and countries such as the United States and the European Union in order to tell these countries or these elements in a direct or indirect manner that you need to stop?
I was coming to the point. Yes, no doubt that the biggest responsibility, it has to be taken by the international community, all the major powers, United States itself and the international organization, whether that is the United Nations, the European Union, ASEAN or some other Shanghai Cooperation Organization, but most important, that is the United Nations organization. Why? Because it as I told before, that it is not only in the disadvantage of the US, not only in the disadvantage of Afghanistan, but also in the disadvantage of the whole South Asia, and not only South Asia. With South Asia is attached with Middle East. Middle East is also going through turmoil, and also there is in the disadvantage of the Central Asian republics. So these 3 regions, mainly those can be disturbed. Another point is, if international community doesn't pressurize India or XYZ for all those those malicious those misadventures in Afghanistan, then there is a big threat of civil war, that the era of 1990s can be repeated. And
that is going to have a direct and indirect effect on Pakistan as well.
No doubt that the first affectee, that will be Pakistan. And what CPEC is there, are United States, Pakistan, they are planning for too many projects in future. One, that is the C5+1, Central Asian 5 countries and the United States, right? So that is a kind of this BRI project, or smaller than BRI, but it want to connect Central Asia with South Asia through Afghanistan. So if there is no peace, there is instability in Afghanistan, no doubt that Pakistan will be affected, and the interests or all the objectives or the goals what the US want to achieve can't be achieved.
All right. I'll come to a quote that our Chief of the Army Staff said because he was talking to the Command and Staff College in Quetta. Here he said that peace and stability in South Asia hinges on the ability to resolve the long pending issues within the region. This can be complemented through meaningful international support and will to take on the complex challenges. Meaningful support, will to tackle these complex challenges by the international community. Now, our Chief of the Armies have said, and when we talk of long-standing issues, there are only two long-standing issues if we really see. There is one in Afghanistan, peace in Afghanistan. The second is Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. These two issues are there. I mean, when it concerns this region, because there is a Palestinian issue as well, but that is a bit far away from the South Asian issues. But here in this region, there are these two issues. How to persuade, I'd like to again ask you the question, how to persuade the US, how to persuade, leaving aside the United Nations, the European Union, the US, because I think without the proper help of the United States of America, things cannot move in the right direction.
Indeed. Look, Pakistan was one of the first countries who always wanted and sought the support of international community. If we see back in 1948, so have this Kashmir issue that was internationalized and how Pakistan was able to pass the United Nations Security Council's resolutions on the Kashmir conflict. So Pakistan was there. Still Pakistan wants that all those resolutions must be acted upon, and international community should play its active role in resolution of this conflict.
And the international community needs to play a very proactive role as far as the resolution of issues in this region is concerned. Of course, that in Palestine as well, but when it concerns the South Asian region, peace in Afghanistan, Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
Indeed.
Ali Sarwar Naqvi Saab, former ambassador, joins us online as well. Ali Sarwar Naqvi Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. It's a pleasure to have you always in our show. Naqvi Saab, when it comes to long-standing issues, as the Chief of the Army Staff has said while addressing the Staff College in Quetta, there are only two issues. I mean, the Afghan issue and the second is the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir issue. Without the help of the major powers that be, nothing can move forward. Nothing has really moved forward. As far as the Afghan peace process is concerned, Pakistan's role has been primordial, but as far as Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, there the role of the US becomes very important. How can, in your point of view, the different countries that want to bring peace in the region or Pakistan persuade the US to move in that direction?
Well, this is an effort that has been going on for many years, but there are many hurdles along the way. Basically, I think is much more complex than people realize it to be. There are all kinds of cross currents, if I may say so, between the states, and the position that the states take in regard to any particular issue is determined by their overall perspective of their self-interest, their national interest, as well as the impact their agreement or disagreement with a particular matter would have on their national interest, on their economy, and all that. So the Kashmir issue is an issue which India has been able to completely cloak it into in such terms that most countries avoid taking a position on the Kashmir issue. And India having a much more important economic clout than that of Pakistan, it dissuades countries from getting involved with it. The human rights aspect of the Kashmir issue is what should be the focus of bringing attention to it, and Pakistan should work on that objective. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, the Americans have an interest in completely divesting themselves from any responsibility and for just walking off, having found that they can't achieve domination in Afghanistan. And
but doesn't that leave, won't that leave Afghanistan in a disarray, in your point of view, sir?
Yes, and they have tried to do it with the, listen, they have tried to do it with the government in place. Now, Afghan government was created by the Americans under the Bonn Conference of 2002. Both Pakistan and the Taliban, who are deeply involved in the peace process now, were not even included in that conference. So this whole experiment, they then gave a constitution, they held elections, this and that. This whole experiment seems to be failing, and the Americans are trying to walk away from the entire project. So it's very unfortunate. The sufferer will be the Afghan people. And if there is a spillover, the sufferer would be the people of Pakistan. In that regard,
what needs to be done, Ambassador Saab, because you understand politics, you understand diplomacy, what needs to be done by Pakistan in order to prevent this spillover in case something untoward happens in Afghanistan?
Well, we are already taking steps. Like, the fencing of the border, I think, is very important. Even if it is not entirely foolproof, it will block the spillover of militants, of warlords and their factions and such undesirable groups. And we have to have good relations with all the parties in Afghanistan. Afghan peace should be Afghan-led and Afghan-owned. And this we are doing because we have opened up channels with all the Afghan sides. So we should hope to have a sort of positive effect and salutary effect on the Afghan political parties and groups and individuals.
All right. Ambassador Saab, there is a very important conference of the parliamentary leaders of the ECO countries that is going on in Islamabad as we speak. Today is the first day, tomorrow is the second day. What kind of role can the ECO countries, in your point of view, also play as far as some kind of a resolution of the Afghan peace issue or what is happening in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is concerned?
I think they can play a very important role. You see, the ECO members are Iran, Pakistan, and now the Central Asian states. So they I think, are directly affected by what happens in Afghanistan. It is in their common interest. It is in their common interest to have peace and stability in the war-torn areas of Afghanistan. So Pakistan can use this conference to bring this to their attention and mobilize their support for proceeding along the peace process.
All right. Thank you very much, Ambassador Ali Sarwar Naqvi Saab, to have joined us and to have given us your eminent point of view as far as the long-standing issues in the region are concerned in order to bring peace and stability in South Asia. We'll come back to our guest in the studio, Dr. Saab. Dr. Afridi, we've heard Ambassador Saab's perspective as far as the role that different other countries could play as far as the Afghan issue is concerned or the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir issue is concerned. I understand we've talked about SCO, we talked about ECO with the ambassador as well, and there are so many other organizations. There's the OIC as well. Do you feel that the Muslim countries could join hands or would join hands in the future in order to jointly move together to resolve issues that pertain to the Islamic world? And of course, Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir or the Afghan issue are part of those.
Umar Saab, unfortunately, if we see the history of Organization of Islamic Cooperation, that was not very much instrumental or very much helpful in resolving the issues pertaining to the Muslim world. And in future, if we see, so we hope so, we want, but I don't think so that it can really help us, because major countries, Muslim countries of the world, they are associated with the US, or they have their own bilateral issues with other countries, or they have their own personal, interests. If we take the example of India, so Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, even the Qatar, or Oman, Bahrain, all these countries, they have very strong trade relationship with India. So,
but can't this trade relationship with India be used in order to move forward for some kind of a resolution of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir issue?
That is the strongest point. Of course, on every platform, Pakistan has stressed upon this point in this issue, that to wake up, the Muslim world, the Muslim countries. And yes, if these countries, they really want to have a jolt to India, they can do. If they boycott it, or if they can minimize the export or import quota,
or they can put
India.
a precondition to their relationship.
This is very much good tool of pressure if they use it, because now this is the era of economics. Now
Geoeconomy.
Geoeconomy is very important. You rightly said. And now economy is very much closely connected with the politics. So they can use it. Why not? And yes, if Organization of Islamic Cooperation, if it gain momentum in future, and all the major countries of the Muslim world, if they really join hands together and they pass a resolution, and even not only resolution, but even they take it as a part of the OIC charter, that if anybody want to have injustice with the Muslim world, they can have trade boycott, or they can minimize the export and import quota. And it can really be beneficial in the case of India. Then India can be pressurized, and all the minorities, especially the Muslims in India and the illegal occupation of the Indian Jammu and Kashmir, that can be lifted.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Manzoor Afridi, to have joined us and to have talked to us about this very important issue, that is peace and stability in South Asia, and that is primordial. It's just not for Pakistan, Dr. Sahib, it's for all the countries that are present in the region, including in Afghanistan. So some kind of future process should be established by all the different stakeholders that are directly or indirectly concerned with South Asia in order to bring peace, because peace and stability means a stronger South Asia, doesn't it?
Yes, it is exactly. This is era of globalization, and within globalization, one thing is very much important, that is the local solution, the local initiatives. And if these neighboring countries of Afghanistan, and the most important, of course, Pakistan is there, if the Central Asian republics, Iran, even India, Turkey, Pakistan, they join hands together and they really come across, on a single platform, yes, they can do. And it matters more than even the United States.
I totally agree. Thank you very much, Dr. Manzoor Afridi, to have
My
joined
pleasure.
us and to have talked to us about this very important issue. Let's go to our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, and that concerns also peace and stability. But let's come to Pakistan. Peace and stability is, of course, related to decrease in terrorism, as far as of course, what is happening in Pakistan is concerned. Of late, despite the two major operations that the country has and the country's forces have been involved in, there are still, in the last few weeks or months, we've seen some increase in these such incidents of terrorism are concerned. 4 soldiers, of course, were martyred and 8 others were injured in 2 attacks in Balochistan on Monday night. This was, of course, said in a statement by the ISPR, and it also said that at least 4 terrorists were killed and 8 others were injured in the incident. We'll come back with more details, but after this short break. Stay tuned. Now, there has been an incident in Balochistan, in Quetta, where 4 soldiers were martyred, 8 others injured. This happened in 2 attacks that happened in Balochistan on Monday night. This was a statement released by the ISPR that gave more details as far as that is concerned. And 4 terrorists have also been killed and 8 others injured in one of these incidents. That was, of course, an FC post near Pir Ismail Ziyarat in Quetta that was targeted by the terrorists. That led to an exchange of fire, which continued for some time. 4 to 5 terrorists were killed, 7 to 8 have been injured, and 4 brave FC soldiers have embraced Shahadat, while 6 others got injured. To talk more about this situation as far as Balochistan is concerned. We've been joined by Sangeen Khan, who's an analyst. Sangeen Khan, sir, thank you very much to have joined us. So we've been hearing of such incidents happening in the last few weeks and months, and there is a deliberate attempt by some forces, unseen or seen, that want to create instability in Pakistan. How do you see the efforts of the forces as far as to neutralize such forces are concerned?
Well, first of all, sir, thank you so much for having me. First of all, let's go back the Pakistan's effort, the security agencies' effort, the commendable efforts of the security agencies, including police, FC, intelligence agencies, army. They have done a commendable job.
Of course.
No doubt, since 9/11, Pakistan, remained the most affected of the fall of the global war on terrorism. What Pakistan Army has done, what security agencies has done, we need to keep in mind that Pakistan played a significant role in the de-radicalization of its society. One. Second, madrasa reforms we have done along with the kinetic operations. I remember, since I'm from Quetta, at the moment I have joined you from Quetta, I can tell you what economic activities could not be, carried out, having law and order. The situation was very bad back 2013, 2014. Alhamdulillah, the economic activities have picked up. So many investments have arrived to, the Gwadar, to Balochistan, and so on and so forth. Let me tell you, there are lots of, not Pakistani, but international reports as per the Global Terrorism Index, which states that Pakistan's security has improved from 5th to 7th, comparatively 2019 and 2020. Similarly, as per South Asia Terrorism Portal, Pakistan casualty comparatively the reports of 2013 and comparatively 2019, there is a huge gap, and alhamdulillah, there's a huge decline in terrorist activities. So obviously this speaks volume. The credit goes to the armed forces. At the cost of their lives, they embrace shahadat at the borders, the internal security. So alhamdulillah, I can say that there has been decline in terrorist activities. Yes, there are sleeper cells which off and on take place, but overall, at the larger picture, the terrorist activities have declined, alhamdulillah.
But Sangeen Saab, we cannot, not talk about the spoiler effect of India as organization, that country that is trying to create disharmony or a situation of mistrust with other countries. We remember Kulbhushan Yadav also, who was arrested from Balochistan, and of course his revelations that came out in the subsequent months as well, in which he gave much more details about the different operations that India has been carrying out inside of Pakistan. Now, of course, our forces, whether they be the intelligence forces or the army or the FC, their efforts have been extremely commendable. The two major operations that they've had, and of course now also they're apprehending these terrorists and these people from different walks of life who are trying to create disharmony on the behest of certain agents or certain elements that we know very well of. What more needs to be done in your point of view in order to completely eliminate the scourge of terrorism from Balochistan?
Exactly. First of all, we cannot rule out the possibility, and there's no, no doubt what, especially in Balochistan and former Fata, there has been influence of India. What Yuri really mentioned about the Commander Gulbhushan Yadav, it is a manifestation, the Indian involvement in Balochistan. Other than that, we saw the previous TTP commanders who were incarcerated by our intelligence agencies. Their confessional statements also speak volume. There is a involvement of the Indian intelligence agencies in Balochistan using the Afghan land. So what really you said about it, there is a long way to go. I mean, in order to achieve long-lasting peace in Balochistan, no doubt we need to have a structural reform. When I say structural reforms, we need structural, there's a need of justice, socio-economic deprivation. Yes, comparatively, the 2 decades back, the Balochistan, this issue had existed. The socio-economic deprivation ranging from justice, education, literacy rate, and so on and so forth. But what I can tell you from now, alhamdulillah, the current ruling government in Balochistan having a vision having more comparatively better than previous governments in Balochistan, along with the support of Pakistan Army. I can tell you lots of, infrastructure activities are going on in Balochistan. Lots of economic activities have been picked up. And interestingly, today, at the moment, in Ziyarat, their Prime Minister Imran Khan and Chief of the Army Staff visiting Ziyarat on a special occasion right here to inaugurate a couple of the special projects regarding the tourism industry. So this really speaks volume. There has been huge change in the economic activities. Peace has been restored. The gains have been consolidated. So I think further needs to be done. We need to have a more holistic and comprehensive strategy to deal with those sleeper cells.
Or when we talk of comprehensive or holistic strategy in order to combat such elements that are trying to create disharmony in provinces such as Balochistan, how important is the role of the people, of the residents of Balochistan? You are yourself one resident of the province, in order to highlight or pinpoint those elements to our forces that are trying to create disharmony in Pakistan?
Very importantly, as a social activist and many others like me, now they have realized. Years back, the people have, they were not cognizant of the ground realities due to lack of education, illiteracy, unemployment. They could easily, become the victim of those inimical forces, elements in Balochistan. Now the people have realized this. They are, joining the mainstream. The government, the state has realized that the only way to counter the terrorist activity is to take its own people into confidence. In this regard, I can tell you confidently, many people, Baloch youth are joining armed forces of Pakistan. They are being subsidized. They are being given jobs. They are being mainstreamed in a couple of departments. So this speaks a very holistic strategy. This needs to go a long way. This needs to be continued. It is not the only job of the Pakistan Army or security agency.
Exactly. It is a joint effort by all the stakeholders that are involved, that include the people of Balochistan.
Exactly. Now the people of Balochistan has realized they have to shun. They have to, rule out those old ideas of, people having ruled by those, Sardars or Nawabs. The people have realized, the people of Balochistan have realized that education is the only way to support, to stand shoulder to shoulder with countrymen, to stand shoulder to shoulder with its brave army, to counter the scourge of extremism and terrorism from its own society.
Thank you very much, Sangeen Khan, to have joined us all the way from Balochistan and to have talked to us about the efforts of our forces in order to annihilate all those elements that are trying to create disharmony in our beautiful province, that is Balochistan. And of course, nothing can happen without the joint effort of the forces with the people of Balochistan. Let's go to our next segment, ladies and gentlemen, where Pakistani Foreign Office and Pakistan has taken strong exception to Israeli politician who misused the Shifa Hospital, a private hospital that is located in H84 sector in Islamabad, and its image in a social media video. Now, of course, this was in context of what was happening in Palestine and the barbarity of the Israeli people towards the Palestinians. And in all of that, this Israeli politician took a picture of the Shifa Hospital, Shifa International Hospital in Islamabad, and used it as if it was a location in Palestine. And our Foreign Office has said that we have seen the statement by Israel's former war minister. Of course, it was Israeli former war minister. You can see the image in the parallel window as I'm speaking. And the Foreign Office said, we believe that it is a casual misjudgment at best and deliberate misrepresentation at worst. This was Zahid Hafeez Chaudhry Sabu said that to a foreign media channel. He said we also take serious exception to the fact that a Pakistani building was misquoted in the statement. Also, when it comes to the Shifa Hospital, that was misquoted or shown in a wrong manner in this very video. The spokesperson for the hospital said it was clear that the image of Shifa International Hospital has been shown mistakenly, and the Shifa International Hospital is Pakistan's leading private hospital. This is what he said, accredited with the Joint Commission in the United States, and has been providing quality health care services to Pakistan for over 28 years. We accordingly emphasized to remove the said visual. This, of course, was posted by Israeli politician Naftali Bennett on the 20th of this very month. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from this mistaken representation of Pakistan, let's go towards the actual representation of parents and their role in order to bring forth a new generation of young kids, boys and girls. They are, of course, their children. Today, we are celebrating Global Day of Parents to highlight the efforts that are made by parents, especially in these COVID-19 times. More in the following report.
Emphasizing the critical role of parents in the rearing of children, the Global Day of Parents recognizes that the family has the primary responsibility for the nurturing and protection of children. For the full and harmonious development of their personality, children should grow up in a family environment and in an atmosphere of happiness, love, and understanding. Families have borne the brunt of COVID-19 pandemic. As the anchors of the family and the foundation of our communities and societies, parents have the responsibility of sheltering their families from harm, caring for out-of-school children, and at the same time continuing their work responsibilities. Without support from parents, children's health, education, and emotional well-being is at risk. By introducing family-friendly workplace policies and practices, companies and organizations will be in a better position to promote children's safety and well-being. Parents' Day is the right time to show appreciation towards parents for their commitment and sacrifice towards bringing up their children in a safe environment and nurturing their lives.
In fact, it is the selfless commitment of the parents towards their children and their lifelong sacrifice towards nurturing this new generation that goes a long way in order to bring forth this new generation that will change Pakistan, that will change the world. Change come from the parents, and that is what we are celebrating today, the Global Day of the Parents. With that, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new sets of issues that pertain to Pakistan and the globe. Till then, stay tuned, stay safe. Allah Hafiz.